Well, good morning, everybody. You might notice I'm a little overdressed here today. That's because I am picking up at a copper and gold mine. That's right. My name is Kevin. I'm a solo driver for CRETE Carrier, and you're watching the Joy of Trucking. So I got a story for you today. I'm south of Tucson. Quite the process to get in here. A lot of rules, a lot of stuff. You'll notice that I'm wearing a hard hat, glasses, safety vests, and you can see my steel-toed work shoes, of course. All that is mandatory here. They'll lend you a hard hat if you didn't bring your own. I just happen to have this one lying around in the truck. I found it on the side of the road one day when I was going for a walk. I thought it might come in handy. You should know there's no pets allowed outside the truck, and there are no children allowed on the premises. Very dangerous place. It's a big old pit mine. I was at another one of these facilities about a year ago over in Miami, east of Phoenix. Really big pit mine, and picked up a load of copper wire. It was really thick, and I watched them roll it up into a big coil, put it on a pallet, and they put about 18 of those in my truck. Very interesting, good education. Part of that process was a safety class. They want you to watch this little video on all the safety things you should know when you're in a place like this, when to honk your horn and stop, and what speed, watch out for people, watch out for equipment, blah, blah, blah. And then they actually give you a card with your name on it and the date saying that you've taken the safety class. So next time you come in, you just flash the card and you don't have to watch the video. And I remembered that, and I'd been to this other facility last year, but I didn't remember when, so I brought the card with me, showed it to the guy at the shack. The guy looked at the date on it and said, nope, this expired 6 days ago. You have to watch the video. Oh, well, okay. So me and a couple other guys watched this 7-minute video. And then we got a new card with a new date on it. Okay, this place, they didn't tell me what I was picking up when I got the load information, but apparently it's molybdenum. I guess it's a byproduct of all this mining they're doing here. Taking it into LA. It's in big white bags on pallets. Kind of like, you know, when you see concrete coming to a concrete plant, it's in these big white bags. Easier to move around and so on. They're shaking me up right now, loading me up. Now you can see there's some bags of molybdenum right there. Just like what they're putting on my truck. You see this big hill up here in front of me? That looks man-made. I guess when they're digging that big hole in the ground to get all the ore out, they just pile up the dirt here, build themselves a mountain. Look at Hula Girl just working it. Just as another little side note, I do have personal experience with molybdenum that we happen to be hauling out of here. I spent 25 years in the printing industry, and for a lot of those years I was involved with King presses. A King press is designed to print books and newspapers and that kind of thing. At one point we got a service notification. We used to, you know, there's a lot of places where you have to lubricate with oil and grease and stuff like that. There's a particular part though called the clutch cam that drives the ink fountain roller. But it moves in steps. It doesn't turn, the roller doesn't turn constantly on that particular press. So it's driven by this clutch cam, which looks like a roller bearing, you know, with long rollers inside, like needles. But in a clutch cam, they're actually shaped like a cam. They have a lobe or a high spot on each one of the rollers. So you put it on the shaft of this ink fountain roller, and it'll spin all day in one direction. But as soon as you go in the other direction, all those little rollers in there lock on the shaft, and it'll actually turn the shaft in that direction. So in one direction it slips, in the other direction it grabs. And the service notice we got for that particular part was not to use grease on that clutch cam that is enhanced with either graphite or molybdenum, because it's actually an extra lubricant. It makes the grease a little bit more slippery, and it was just too slippery for that thing to properly operate, to turn that roller in one direction. A little bit too much anti-friction going on there. So that's how I first encountered molybdenum. When I realized that, I started checking all the grease that we used on our press, and I had to order a special grease for that one part. So that's how I know about molybdenum. Good story, right? Now, in case you happen to Google molybdenum, you might also learn that it was discovered in 1778 by a fella, and atomic number 2 and all that other stuff. But it's used in metal alloys. It makes them extra hard, and gives them more conductivity, you know, if you're using them in electrical components. It's a big factor in the manufacture of engine blocks, and it also has nutritional value because it's a trace element that you can find in some foods like legumes and vegetables and so on. It's actually good for your body to a point. It has a toxicity level as well. So lots of uses for molybdenum. I wonder where all this molybdenum is going to wind up. So, hey, listen, if you have some experience with molybdenum, or if you're familiar with King Press, they're made in Joplin, Missouri, put it in the comments down below. I'd like to read about that. Also, when you come in, you go to the guard shack, you tell them your load and all that stuff. They want to know your carrier, your license number, your license plate, your trailer number, your trailer license plate. They want to know the broker. I thought, broker? Nobody's ever asked me that. I don't think I have a broker. And I told the guy, there's no broker. And they said, oh yes, there has to be a broker. So I called CRETE. I said, who's the broker on this load? They said, we don't use brokers. We don't need no stinking brokers. So I had to go explain to the guard. I says, CRETE doesn't use brokers. So our company just has a direct contract with your company. That's it, you know. Oh, so he had to scratch his head over that a bit, and on we went. I've been in this area the last few days. We were in Phoenix for a few days, Tanya and I, and then she went back to Florida, and I got a load. I had to come down to Nogales on the border, Nogales, Arizona, and picked up a load of stuff there and took it all the way up to Salt Lake City. That was an overnight run. And when I got there, my next load was at the same place, going back to the same place in Nogales. So another day and a half back down there, 800 miles. Very nice scenery, beautiful. Well, I took the route through Page instead of Las Vegas. A little quieter, a lot less traffic, a lot more scenery. No lights and glitter from the big city in Vegas there. Beautiful, beautiful ride, both ways. And when I got back down here, my next load was picking up at this place. So here I am. That's the story of the last few days. It's been a good time. Something else noteworthy, as you come down here from Tucson to Nogales, you're getting towards the Mexican border, and you see a lot more presence of Customs and Border Patrols. There's actually a checkpoint you go through on the way north from Nogales. It's like a big shed, and you drive through, and they got dogs sniffing and all that stuff. And they just waved me through both times, no problem. But a funny thing, all the road signs and mile markers are in metric. It's all in kilometers. So I'm looking at these signs and watching for my exit, and I'm thinking, oh, I got 20 more miles to go. Well, actually, it's 20 kilometers to this exit, and it came up a lot faster than I expected. Also, worth noting, when you come into Nogales, there's a truck route that goes around Nogales. Do not go straight into the town and do whatever you got to do to, you know, if you're going to cross the border. And all the warehouses and everything are on the bypass. Do not miss the bypass, because after that, there's a lot of roads where trucks can't go. Something to remember when you come down here. Okay, I think that's all I had to say for today, and it feels like they're just about done loading me, so I got to get ready to go. Got a little trip planning to do. Got to be headed into Los Angeles. That's always fun. Give us a thumbs up and comments down below, and let me know if you've been to a mine lately and what you had to go through there. And hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and all that good stuff, and we'll see you down the road. Bye for now.